If you are trying to stop food noise, then this video is for you. You feel like you're doing absolutely everything right. You're hitting the gym 3 times a week, you're meal prepping, you're prioritizing protein, and you're eating the salad for lunch every day. And yet you have this constant food noise and you feel like you're totally out of control on the weekends. This is exactly where my client Anna was when she first came to see me. She was a high achiever who felt like she was doing absolutely everything to regain control around food. But despite all her discipline during the week, she had this constant mental chatter, constant food noise, and everything fell apart on the weekends. She felt really stuck. In this video, I'm going to show the exact psychological shift we made that took her from obsessing about food 24/7 to actually forgetting to finish her dinner. I'm Lara and I help high-achieving women break the binge cycle to feel calm around food and confident in their bodies. Hit the like and subscribe channel to stick around. So Anna sent me an email recently with a quick update to let me know how things were going. She said to me, and I quote, "I came to you asking why I couldn't stick to the regime, but the biggest revelation was the regime was the problem. So let me explain." You see, Anna was in this cycle that may sound familiar to many of you. She was exercising intensely. She hit the gym at least 3 times a week, but she was doing very heavy weights and pushing really hard. She had a stressful work week and she was eating clean during the week, very, very particular and meticulous about what it was she was eating. She was meal prepping, she was eating very similar things daily, and actually as a result, in her words, her food was quite bland and boring. As a psychologist, there are 2 main things that I saw that was happening. The first was the restriction backlash. So because she was so sensible and strict with herself Monday through Friday, her brain was seeing the weekend as this time to totally let loose. She thought that it was because she didn't have enough discipline on the weekends. It was actually this rebound where, because she was restricting so much during the week, there was almost like this elastic band letting go, and she felt totally wild and out of control on the weekends. She also only allowed herself treats on the weekends, and she'd go totally wild. You know that thing where you open a packet of biscuits to just eat one, and then 5 or 10 minutes later you found that you've eaten the whole packet? Well, that's what used to happen to Anna every single weekend. And that was with biscuits, with ice cream, with chocolate. And then the second thing I saw going on was this cortisol spike. You see, she was doing very, very high intensity training, and she would kind of force herself to hit the gym, and she'd spend hours there as well. And alongside that, she had a very stressful job. It seemed to me that this was keeping her in this constant state of like fight or flight. She would never let herself rest. So even if she didn't feel like it, she would literally force herself to go to the gym. And that was at least 3 times, sometimes 4 times a week. And added to this, because she was so restrictive during the week, she was often going to the gym actually very hungry. So we worked on a few things over the course of time that we were working together. Here are just a couple of things that we changed that really worked for her. The first thing we worked on was actually adding more. So Anna definitely needed more carbs because she was going to the gym so often and so intensely. She needed more carbs to fuel her body and certainly to fuel her intense workouts. So rather than this sad salad, as she put it, during the week, we built that out with some extra carbs. So whether she was having potato or like pita bread or rice alongside, and that gave her a lot more energy to exercise. And she said she felt so much better when she was actually exercising. We also started to add more variety. So what I was seeing is, because Anna was meal prepping, she was literally eating the same thing every day, the same breakfast every day, the same lunch every day. And what I wanted her to do is change it up. Now, meal prepping can be really helpful if you are super busy, but if that means you are eating the same thing every day, it's very easy to get bored. Your brain gets bored, your brain seeks stimulation, and that's where you end up binging. So what I encouraged Anna to do was rotate what she was eating. So change things up, have 3 or 4 different breakfasts that she could rotate and have different ones every day. Same with lunch. I also encouraged her to add more fun food during the week. You see, what I was seeing as a problem, she was not allowing herself anything remotely fun during the week, and then she would go wild on the weekends. So what I encouraged her to do was add certain things during the week. She really liked cheese and she really liked chocolate. So I recommended have a little bit of cheese in your lunch. So if you're having a salad, have some cheese with it, for example, alongside those carbs. She also really liked dark chocolate, so I encouraged her to have a little bit during the week, a couple of squares every day. And you might be thinking, but Lara, isn't that going to make her binge even more? It actually did the complete opposite. Because she was allowing herself chocolate on Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays, for example, she didn't feel that desperate need to binge an entire family-sized bar on the weekends. So that concept of forbidden fruit kind of vanished because she was normalizing eating it during the week. And then I also recommended that she changed up her exercise routine. You see, she was working out really intensely, but she was also feeling a little bit bored with her workout routines and also telling me that she wasn't seeing any results. She didn't feel like she was improving in her stamina or her strength anymore, almost like she'd reached a plateau. So what I recommended is, rather than just sticking to these really heavy gym sessions, she started incorporating other types of movement. So the one thing she incorporated and really enjoyed was reformer Pilates. So she, in her words, was focusing on movement for longevity and not just calorie counting. And this was her aha moment. And I'm going to read you the quote from her email. "I came to you asking why I can't just 100% stick to the regime. But the biggest revelation for me was when you showed me that the regime was actually the problem, and the tight control during the week was subconsciously causing a backlash/binge on special occasions." So she had this huge aha moment that everything that she had put into place to try and get healthy was actually causing the opposite effect and causing her to binge and just go wild on the weekends and also, as she says, special occasions. And then another thing that we started to work on to help Anna was helping Anna tune into her fullness cues. And the reason for that was she was telling me that she had lost that connection between her hunger and her fullness cues. And so she would be constantly, again, in her words, overeating, even when she wasn't feeling particularly hungry. So alongside helping her tune into her hunger, we also helped her tune into fullness and see what that felt like, so that she was able to stop when she was starting to feel fullness emerging, rather than when she was just overly full. And here's what she has to say about that. And again, I'm going to read what she said in her email. "I'm so much more aware of my hunger and, more importantly, fullness signals, which I remember saying to you that I could not hear or recognize anymore." So we worked on really tuning into that. She learned about what hunger and fullness felt like to her, so that then she could start practicing not finishing everything off her plate. This was a real big thing for her because she had been told growing up that she had to clean her plate. I mean, maybe you've heard that phrase of eat everything off your plate because there are starving children in Africa. That was a phrase that she was told constantly as a child. And so over time, we practiced that and did something called conscious awareness eating, where she was consciously tuning into those hunger and fullness cues in the process of eating. So pausing at the beginning, in the middle and towards the end to see what was going on with her hunger and fullness. And then her feedback to me in this email was, and I'm reading again, "I get fuller quicker, so I'm not eating as much every meal as before." And I just love that, because it means that Anna is now much more consciously aware of what she's eating and making those more mindful choices. And then for me, some of the most brilliant feedback is that her food noise has all but gone. She says she feels more calm around food. And again, in her words, more indifferent/chill towards food than I have been in a long time. And that's amazing, because she's not constantly thinking about food anymore like she was when she first came to work with me. And that's it. I just really wanted to share that because I thought it was such a powerful story to really highlight where people can go from, and also what can keep people stuck, because sometimes the very things that they think are going to help them are the things that actually make things worse in the long run. So if you related to Anna's story and you are someone that feels like you know it all and you're doing all the kind of nutrition focused things, you're doing all the workouts, but you still feel stuck in chaos, then often being more regimented and following more regimes isn't going to help. Sometimes it's about really understanding the psychology behind what's keeping you stuck. So I help women exactly like Anna to help them feel more balanced and in charge of their relationship with food. If you want to stop your weekends ruining your progress, hop over to Instagram and message me the word balance. We can talk about what that might look like for you and let's see if we can help you get the same results that Anna got. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and check out these videos next for more tips around food freedom, binge freedom and how to have a healthier relationship with food without restriction. Bye for now.